everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Movie Review Show, where we give you our thoughts and reactions on your favorite movies. Be sure to stick around to the end to see our rating of the film on a scale of 1 to 10. Tonight we're going to review The Conjuring 2. The film, starring Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, tells another story of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, this time taking place in London, England in 1977. The Hodgson family are being tormented by the ghost of Bill Wilkins, the owner of the house who died there some years before. Let's take a look.
This is my home. Get out now.
No, this is not your house. Now, what's your name?
My name is Bill Wilkins, and I'm 72 years old.
What do you make of that voice?
Sounds confused. Is he senile?
The voice on this tape is coming from an 11-year-old girl. They're calling it England's Amityville. There is a family that desperately needs our help.
After everything we've seen, there isn't much that rattles either of us anymore. But this one still haunts me. Does it feel like the voice is coming from inside you?
More like it's coming from behind me. Like I'm being used.
Janet, are you all right?
I'm your host, Brady Haycock, and joining me tonight are Lenny Kama, Lindsay Vertulo, and Shakaya Collins. Alrighty, well, thanks guys for joining me here tonight, and let's get started.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so I'm gonna let Lindsay
Okay.
start us off with our first question.
Sweet.
All right, guys. What were the strongest elements of the film for you, and what did you like most about it?
Starting with me,
Yeah.
I think my favorite aspect of the film, well, you guys have all seen it more than once, right?
Yeah.
So for me, watching it the first time, I didn't notice every time they're in Ed and Lorraine's house, how you would see just randomly Valak written in the most
Yeah, that
weird
was
places, like on a
amazing.
bookshelf or it's on the floor. And I didn't notice that the first time I watched it, but when we watched it in here, I was like, wait, whoa, that says Valak, that's the name. I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was really cool that, it kind of left something for people seeing it again for a second time. Like,
a special touch.
Yeah, you never would have thought about it the first time you watched it because you didn't know to look for the name. And then, that was just a really cool thing. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was an enjoyable film. I think the soundtrack was amazing. I think that's what really sold it for me. Like, that's what kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time.
That's the suspense.
Yeah.
I like the storyline because I feel like sometimes horror films don't always have such a strong storyline. It just kind of let me pop out and scare you. Let me pop out and scare you. So I thought that was really
And
well
it's
done.
based off of an actual story and
Right.
actual people. So that's
So they
pretty
say.
cool. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess, those, the main ghost hunter, demon hunters
Ed
are...
and Lorraine.
Yes. Are real people, which is freaky because I remember going into the first Conjuring, one of my friends had told me this is based off of a true story, real events, real people. So you look it up and it kind of freaks you out, and then you see, the prologue that the people tell you before, this is based off real events. But I think that would be kind of one of my favorite parts of this too, but also the plot and the story of how the girl is possessed by, is it Bill Wilkins?
Yeah.
I think it's Bill Wilkins. And so for a good 45 minutes, 50 minutes even, we're thinking it's this old guy that died in the house.
Yeah.
But really it's Valak. And we see those signs, which you don't look for the first time you're watching it.
Absolutely.
James Wan is brilliant how he just puts
those
it,
twists.
in the back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the really strong components of this film and of the whole series are the characters of Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're people that you root for, and they're people that you really grow to love, and so you want them to come out on the other side unscathed. And I think that's really what helps sell the film, is that you've got this great love story going on at the same time that you've got this really creepy horror film, is their love story and their connection. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Lenny,
Next question.
take a question.
All right, let's see. Seems like a good one. All right. How would you compare this to the first film, Conjuring 1?
Ooh. There's nothing like the first one, but I'd say that this one was like really well done. But I think like throughout this film, I was kind of like waiting. I love horror films, and I was just like waiting to like really be scared or like something to freak me out. And nothing quite did like the first one, but I saw the first one in theater, and I know that makes like a big difference, like when you're sitting there and it's loud and you're on the big screen, and so I don't know, but the first one's always just something special.
Yeah, it's like being the first child. Like you're just always gonna be the favorite.
Special one.
True.
I definitely think the first one, I think had stronger elements to it. I think the whole like end sequence was a lot stronger. The real climax of that story definitely kept me on the edge of my seat a lot more than the climax to this one. That was just it was over too quickly, and it almost seemed, and maybe this is his intention, it almost seemed too easy. Like she literally just like said the demon's name and it disappeared.
And I do know your name. Yeah.
And they are talking about making a third film.
Oh, they are.
And they are, yeah.
Okay.
They're planning on making a third Conjuring, as well as making, I believe, a sequel to Annabelle, and another spin-off called The Nun. So it may be James Wan's his goal to
like
have us
keep
think
Valak alive.
Yeah.
Type
So
of
maybe
thing.
that's a character that's gonna return. But that, for
Probably.
me, at least in the context of this story, seemed to be too easy.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. The whole, because you have this amazing suspense and build up to that moment. And like in the first one, the exorcism part is so intense and the acting is so raw and real and it's so well done. And this one, it's just like, all right, bam, like get out. And she's like, okay, I'm free of this demon. And then you're like, all right, well, 2.5 hours later.
Yeah.
Okay, now that demon's gone. So easily, I don't know.
It's a really long film for a short moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like going on a roller coaster and waiting for like an hour and a half in line for like a 30-second ride, and then you you get on the ride and you're like at the end of it you're like, it wasn't worth the wait.
Yeah.
Well, just go get a churro and everything's fine.
True.
That's true. Churros make everything better.
Very true.
All right, Shakaya,
Alrighty.
ma'am.
Go with this nice.
All right.
What didn't you like about the film?
Oh man, I feel like we kind of talked
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I will say, I didn't like the kind of lack of a really strong climax. I felt overall that the character development wasn't as strong for the family, the Hodgson family, as for the I believe it's the Perrin family from the first one, where you really like got a strong connection to, especially the children.
Yeah.
You got a better understanding of the personalities and basically the family dynamic there.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I honestly forgot that there were two boys.
Sons.
There were two sons.
I did
The one
too.
son, like, you
Yeah.
only had the one scene where he was like, she took him in the kitchen with the
Right.
knives, and
Yeah.
so
That
in
was-
that
At least the one boy had like his little toy
the
scene.
truck,
Yeah.
which
Right.
was one of the scariest
Yeah.
scenes in the film for sure. But I
Yeah, I wish that was developed more. I forgot there were two boys.
Yeah.
For sure.
At least he got to be very brave for his part. So
yeah.
got to show
That's
some
true.
personality.
He got the scariest part,
Yeah.
getting taken away by the
True.
demon
Like you
sister.
get your one
so
scene, but you're gonna look so
Yeah.
cool in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that, and just how the suspense is like, well, obviously dragged out for so long, and then you just get that tiny little climax, and then Valak, and then bye Valak. It's like that was too easy almost, but it could be a way of building up to the next films.
little gateway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I loved the film. There wasn't like a ton that I really didn't like, but the one thing was just Valak's appearance.
Yes.
Personally, I just don't really like it when they go for like the bloody face or like something really scary looking and like the weird sharp teeth and all that. Like, it was creepy and like, don't get me wrong, it was scary, but I would rather see like a normal face and they pop out at me and then I'm just afraid because of how they did the shot and everything, not just because of the appearance of the person.
Definitely. And I would agree. And I would actually, going back to the first film, that's kind of what made the witch less scary when you actually like saw her face and you're like, oh, she just looks super like fake.
Yeah.
Whereas like when it was like just the quick flashes of her and stuff, that was far more intense and
it's
scary,
like showing less is better almost. Less is more.
Yeah.
Less
like
is
if
more.
you were to pause it on one of the demons' faces, I would just start laughing.
Right.
It's almost funny looking.
Because it's kind of like cheesy. The fingers. Remember when she pops out from the wall and she's holding the mirror or the painting, and the fingers you can tell.
Yeah. It looks like the
that whole
Halloween
scene was
one.
It looks like
Party
you can just I don't know.
I think like going off of that, like I love horror films and so like scare me like so. I don't know, maybe that was like part of it. Like it wasn't real enough in that aspect.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go on to this question. So the director, James Wan, uses some really interesting camera work in the film to create tension. What do you guys think about that? Like how did he use camera work in this film in particular to create tension?
I don't know.
You want to go first?
No, you can go first.
So it's kind of funny because this is the one scene that you guys were just talking about that you thought was kind of cheesy. But I thought the scene where Valak, like you see the frame in her fingers and everything, the way how they like go really slow close up onto that frame. I don't know, that just really scares me.
And the fingers just kind of slowly creep out. That part is...
I just imagine in real life, like, if I was looking at a creepy painting and I just see the silhouette or like a shadow of a body and then just the hands and it slowly zooms in onto the face, it's like so scary.
I thought actually with that same scene, when he pans across the room and you start seeing the shadow walking across, but first it like freezes on the painting of the house from the first one.
Oh yeah, you can.
And then like the shadow kind of emerges from there. And that was interesting because it was like, oh, is this connected more? Is there, is that an indication that it's actually connected to the first story? And then just that slow pan across the room as the shadow of the nun just like walks across the room and then ends up behind the painting and then the fingers come out. That was really cool. I think my other favorite shot that really created a lot of tension was when the little girl was up on the ceiling. And you don't realize that she was on the ceiling.
It almost like flips perspective. And then wait, she's like up in the sky right now.
Well, and it was not the first time that we had seen her be like transported from her bed. And so it wasn't like you weren't expecting that. And then it like does that whole flip and tilt and everything, and you see him sitting in the chair, you see Bill, and she's frozen on the ceiling, and then you're seeing things from her perspective as he goes up the staircase. That's really cool.
Going off the staircase thing, I think those were like my favorite shots, like following up the staircase, because you like, or even like down the staircase when she like went down at different times, because it's like you don't know what's like up at the top or you don't know what's up at the bottom. And I think for people that like, I mean, everyone's been on stairs. You kind of, or like if you've lived in a house where like you've got to go down and get that water glass.
You run down, you run back up. Yeah.
Go really fast. And so I feel like that really like.
A picture around the corner.
I still do that at my parents' house. Like I turn off all the lights upstairs and I sprint down the staircase. So I agree. It's that kind of like unknown, like you can't see it, so you don't know. Like that time where she walks down the staircase at night. And you just see out of the corner of your eye, you see him sitting in the chair. And you're like, oh my gosh. And you're like, there's someone in the chair. And that's really cool. That's
what I like. Awesome. It's kind of like those medium close-ups. And also the wide shots that he uses, for example, in the house when it's raining outside and they have all the reporters and she's in the chair and she has to drink the water to talk. And he just holds that frame. and it's like you see all of the actors and you're like, okay, like it's daylight too in this scene, like this shouldn't be scary, but you know that you're waiting to see something out of the corner. And for me, that that gives me suspense, because you just hold it and you're like, why aren't they cutting to something else?
Absolutely, and you can just kind of see it's real fuzzy and the camera's out of focus.
Right.
And you can just see her like figure changing into the old man.
Yeah.
There, but you never actually, you kind of think, is that just my eyes playing tricks on me or what? And that's a really, really cool technique for sure. So, all right, who wants to? Got one more question in the bowl. Shakaya.
Right.
Shakaya Collins.
Would you watch the film again? Why or why not?
No. No, because I'm not a horror film person. I think, that's my main thing. I don't know. I wouldn't be like, oh, Conjuring 2, like, let me see this again. Like, I know what's gonna pop out now. I know what's gonna happen. It is cool though, watching it again, to see the things like Valak in the background and just like the little things that they put in there to hide, to like show the audience when they watch it again. But I don't know, it wouldn't be my first choice. It was well done, but I'm not a scary movie person.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch it again. I love horror movies, and I've already seen this one like 4 times, and I still, at all the jump parts, I still jump and scream every time. I love it. Also, I would watch it again just for like what we were talking about with the Valak and all that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more stuff in there that I missed.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I watched it like 4 times, and I didn't notice that until the last time that I watched it.
That was a really cool part.
Yeah.
Like, definitely makes it worth rewatching, and it makes me want to go back and watch the first one again too, and be like, what
Definitely.
did I
Yeah,
miss?
oh, that's so
Like,
true.
did he throw stuff like that in the first one? So definitely makes me want to go back and watch that.
Coming to you soon, Conjuring 1.
Yeah, I would watch this movie again. I like scary movies. I wouldn't say this is my favorite, but in terms of the series and the character development, I think they have something really strong going with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and especially with Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson playing those characters. They have fantastic chemistry
They really do,
together.
yeah.
Like, they really convince you that they're a couple.
Definitely.
I mean, they're on the level of like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie
In
terms of making us believe that they're an actual couple.
Don't jinx it.
There's no Conjuring 3. They broke up.
Yeah. Sorry,
Conjuring
guys.
3, the wedding ring.
No, I'd watch it again, but I think I'd want to watch it like Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, like back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole lot of sitting, but I mean, that's what Sundays
Movie
are
marathon.
for.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
October,
Absolutely.
so I mean,
And you have to throw Annabelle in there.
Oh,
that's
yes.
part of this whole
Definitely
like
watch that.
film universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so they're actually supposed to be making a sequel to Annabelle and a third Conjuring movie, and another movie called The Nun that's focusing on a nun that goes to live in an orphanage, and so maybe it has something to do with Valak, and but it's all part of this expanded universe, so that should
That's
be really
interesting.
interesting.
they're going to be busy.
They
Yeah.
are. They're going to
Definitely.
make a lot of money off of this too. So
Hopefully.
mostly from me, I think.
Yeah, they're like 5 times I'll see it in theaters.
Right. My bank account is running dry, much like my love life. And now we're gonna move to the last question. So, what do you rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's
I
start
give
with
it
Lenny.
a solid 8.
Yeah, an 8.
I would probably say a 6.
Really?
Yeah, I liked the first one a lot better. I think this could have been a more interesting movie overall.
I'll give it a 7, just because it didn't scare me enough. Wasn't it?
Yeah, Shakaya
Yeah,
did
no
not
jump.
react at all.
No,
here.
Brady was,
I was jumpy.
like more than me.
I was flopping around like a fish
That
when
was-
we were watching
wow.
it. She's like, oh,
You're just
oh my gosh!
You're
I
really
was really
invested in the
relaxed.
film.
Yeah.
I was. I had the suspension of disbelief for sure.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was one point in time where we were like hearing noises behind us, and
Yes!
I actually
Okay,
freaked out.
that was weird. I
Yeah.
remember
That was crazy.
That was probably the part that
So-
scared me, not
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on in
It's
here.
the actual ghost.
All right. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Movie Review Show here at Point TV. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.